then we have to start over. That's not good. Okay, so we are recording. Everyone's voice will be recorded and picture. And believe it or not, these DBA hearings actually make it to YouTube. I don't know how that happens. Wow. So at any rate, good evening, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Campbell. I'm the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Nahant. And I'd like to first take care of a little bit of business amongst the members, if you just don't mind us talking about this for a minute. Could all of the members tell me if they have read and approved the minutes from the prior meeting that were circulated? And the last meeting was on May 17th.
I have read the ones that I was involved in and approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them I was not.
All right, Caitlin?
Same.
Then, okay. Peter?
Yes.
Okay, and Michael?
Yep.
Does anyone want to bring a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from our prior meeting.
David Walsh, second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
Peter Barber votes aye.
David Walsh,
All in
aye.
favor, say aye. So we've got Peter Barber, David Walsh,
Caitlin Kelly, aye.
Mike Raworth, aye.
Jocelyn Campbell, aye. Okay, wonderful. Okay, again, today is June 7th, 2021. We're going to start with the petition for 58 Lennox Road, and I'm calling that meeting to order right now. I want to introduce the board members. You may have heard our names already from the discussion of the approval of the prior minutes, but we have myself, Jocelyn Campbell. We have my co-chair, David Walsh. We have Peter Barber with us, and Caitlin Kelly, and Michael Raworth. And whereas Caitlin Kelly and Michael Raworth are technically alternate members, they're going to be sitting here tonight. I'm going to appoint them as full board members for the evening so we can have their assistance with these hearings tonight. The way the hearing process works is that the petitioner will say their petition, tell us what they want from the board, and then what we'll do is we'll read the hearing notice into the read that next, the hearing notice from the newspaper. Once you present your case, we'll have questions from the board. We'll find out if anyone's here to speak either in favor or against your petition. And then we will deliberate, which means we'll talk and you will not talk, and we'll talk amongst ourselves. Then we'll have some motions and make a decision. So that's a pretty succinct way for us to do it. Normally, we pick somebody else besides me to read this, but because of the Zoom, it's easier for me to just read it. I'm going to read the hearing notice for tonight. It said that at 5 p.m. there will be a public hearing on the petition filed by Margaret Ackerman, owner of the property located at 58 Lennox Road, Nahant, Massachusetts, seeking a special permit or variance to extend their current deck by 4 feet by 12 feet on the left side. The inspector of buildings has denied a building permit on March 22nd, 2021, where the proposed deck is in violation of Section 503 of the zoning bylaws of the town of Nahant, where the proposed lot coverage is 33%, where the maximum allowed is 25%, where the proposed left side setback is an extension of same, where the minimum allowed is 10 feet. Now, this hearing tonight is being operated via Zoom technology, and this is because of Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law under General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 18. Of course, this is going to end all pretty soon, so we're fortunate to still be able to do this via Zoom. All right, so now that I've done that, Ms. Ackerman, you could present your case.
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks everyone for being here tonight. So my request is simple. I have a deck on the back of my house, and because of the zoning laws, I'm only allowed to extend it 10 feet from the property line of my next door neighbor. However, the footprint of my house is 6 feet from the property line, and I wanted the deck to line up with the footprint. If it's okay, I can share a photo of that. I think a picture tells 1,000 words, and it might make it easier. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. You have to let me share the screen.
Okay, 1 second. Try it now.
Okay. Still can't. Maybe if you make me the co-host for a minute. I promise
I
I
have
won't
it
take
on
over the-
multiple, so try that.
Okay, here we go. Great.
you have to click share screen too.
Yep.
I'm not seeing any pictures in a second.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. All right, here we go. You're seeing my files?
We're seeing Zoom.
Okay,
What's on the bottom, maybe? Those are pictures?
Yeah, those are pictures down the bottom.
okay. Oh, that's right. You're right. Thank you.
Click on those. Try and get your cursor down there, see if it'll go.
No, I guess, okay, hold on. Oh, I see what I have to do. I'm sorry. Bear with me for a moment, please.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have to deal with this technology, so we've learned to become patient.
Yeah, I know. At least we don't have to sit in a hot town hall.
Oh, exactly.
And so now you see my screen, my Gmail screen.
Yep.
So I emailed them to myself, so I'll just open the email, it'll be easier, save time. They're trying to figure out my file. Thank you. Appreciate your patience. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the current deck. Everybody can see that?
Yep.
Okay, and you can see that that is the 4 feet to the end of the window there, that beautiful picture window. And I have this ending right in the middle of my window. So I just wanted to extend it to the end so that it would be lined up with the rest of the house and also not obstructing the window. And that's all I want to do.
Okay. All right. You?
So should I,
What I'm going to do then is I'm going to go back to one participant. We'll come back to the full screen of all the.
should I stop share? Everyone have a
Yeah.
good, okay. I
Yep.
think I attached a photo to the packet as well.
Yep.
Okay. So did you have anything else you want to say, Ms. Ackerman? Are you all set?
I'm fine. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Do any of the board members have any questions for the petitioner?
Yeah, good question. How high is this deck from the ground?
Oh, okay. Let's see, I have to look at the documents. It's about 6 feet off the ground.
Okay,
The house is the back of the house is located on a hill. So it's, the basement goes out and the back door requires a full staircase to get to the yard. So that's the height of it, which is about 6 by 6 feet, 6 inches, looks like.
okay, thank you.
So, I have a question. How long have you owned the house?
3 years, 3
Oh,
years
okay.
tomorrow.
All right. So you wouldn't know if there were any restrictions put on this deck when it was originally installed?
I actually installed the deck and there were no
Okay.
restrictions except that I had to make it this size. The restriction
Okay.
was just the
The
10 foot.
setbacks? Yep.
Yeah.
Understand.
My question went to height as well, just because on the sheet that was submitted with the dimensional requirements, I noticed you're not asking for an action as far as height, but it does say 8 feet plus or minus, and the existing being 20 feet. So I didn't know if that was just like a typo, or there is no change to the height, right?
No, there's no change to the height. The height is not 20 feet.
That's the house.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the house. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. And do you have any other porches back there, Ms. Ackerman? Do you have another deck?
No,
Deck in the back? Okay. All right, so any more questions for the petitioner? Okay, so
good.
then we're gonna go to our deliberations. Unless
Well,
anyone-
wait a minute, do we want to hear from anyone
Oh,
with
yeah.
input?
Michael,
Yeah.
yes, 1 second. I forgot, I'm glad you brought that up. Is there any persons present who would like to speak in favor of the application? That is the applicant, of course.
I'm here as Peg's neighbor and I am in favor of it.
Oh, you are, okay. And your
Okay,
name,
good.
ma'am?
Valerie Ventura,
And what's your address?
56 Lennox Road.
So this is the
Yeah.
direct abutter to that side of the house.
Correct.
Okay.
So looking at the house, you're on the left, Valerie?
Yes,
And you're the one who would be most directly affected by the dimensions, correct?
that is correct.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition of the application? Okay, thank you, everyone. We're gonna go into our deliberations now, and this is a time when we speak amongst ourselves, and we'll let you know if we have any questions for anyone. Okay, so what does everybody think about this application, this request?
I think it's fairly simple. I mean, it's just, it's just adding onto a deck to make, I think the house more presentable and, having a railing right in the middle of your picture window is not, probably not the best of situations. But we do have 2 variances or special permits, lot coverage and left side setback.
The setback we're talking about is the same as the house setback, correct?
Yes.
It's an extension of the existing nonconformity, in other words.
Yep, exactly.
Okay,
That would be 5.8 feet versus the 10-foot requirement for the left side setback.
Well, in view of the concurrence of the neighbor who's most directly affected by it, and in the absence of any stated objection from anyone else, I would move that we could find that the proposed change is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing situation.
and I would second that, David Walsh.
Walsh seconded it. Any discussion on the motion? I'd like to raise something, and that is that, we're just perpetrating a nonconformity. I know I always say that, but it is true. We're making it a little bit worse than it is. House is really tight over there. I went over there, and actually, I live not too far from there, and I've never even been on that road, which is kind of weird, but I never even been on that road. I drove down that road, and I was like, wow, it is tight over here. Those houses are all crammed in. But I can agree with you, Ms. Ackerman, that, it really, this picture window, the thing right there, it doesn't make any sense. You don't have any other deck. And it kind of makes sense to do it this way. So anyway, any further discussion on the motion of the finding? Okay, all in favor?
Peter Barber, aye.
David Walsh, aye.
Mike Raworth, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Jocelyn Campbell, aye. Okay, so we made the finding.
So Jocelyn, do we have to make 2 findings? One for each, for lot coverage and setback?
I don't know, I believe we can do it in one, because we're looking at, it's a special permit. Can we grant a special permit for a lot coverage relief? Where the dimensional requirements of the building itself under Galata. I think we could probably do it in both. Dave, what do you think? Dave Walsh?
I think we could do it with just one motion.
Okay, all right, just wanted to make sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I make the motion that we grant a special variance to extend the deck and that I would like to put a restriction on, as we normally do with decks, and that is that this deck can never be enclosed.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? And did you say the word variance, Peter? Are you looking to,
I said special permit. I said special permit.
said special variance?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A special, I make the motion that we grant a special permit with the stipulation that the deck can never be enclosed.
Okay,
I will still second.
Motion,
and it's been seconded by David Walsh.
And just for clarification, the stipulation of non-enclosing deck is something that we began doing several years back because people would put a deck up and then enclose it and then come back to us to put another deck up and enclose it. And they basically grew their house that way. So by putting the restriction on it, we call it the Eli Mavros rule. Eli Mavros was a longstanding member of this board. And he was actually the one that began doing this. So just for clarification.
you mean began building additions to houses or enforcing the rule?
No, enforcing the rule. That's why we
Right.
kind of called it, David was on the board, I think early on when we started to call it the Eli Mavros rule. So.
Right.
That's a good rule. All right, so we've had some discussion on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Peter Barber says aye.
David Walsh, aye.
Mike Raworth, aye.
Ellen Kelly, aye.
Jocelyn Campbell, aye. All right, Ms. Ackerman, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna draft up the minutes and the decision. We'll do our best to get everything filed within 2 weeks. It'll be give or take a day on the decision probably, but we'll get it done as soon as humanly possible. And then once it's done, we get it filed, and there's a 20-day appeal period. People want to appeal this decision, okay?
Thank you. Understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next item, let me just suggest in light of what Peter has told us about the background of the Eli Mavros rule, seems to me it makes sense to put that in writing someplace, maybe in the regulations of the planning board at the next opportunity, just so that it doesn't get lost in the mists of time if there's a transition of members, so that it gives adequate notice to applicants that this is likely to be a condition imposed upon any special permit, right?
Well, that actually is in our rules and regulations already, pretty much. It says that the property must be built as presented, and then we're allowed to add any conditions that we want or that we feel are necessary.
Right, but this appears to be a standing procedure that an addition of a deck, a special permit that permits the addition of a deck, will be conditioned on no enclosure of the deck. And since we appear to be doing that universally, it seems to me to make sense to let it be known to the public that this is what's going to be going on.
Oh, we can put a little more language in the rules if you like. We can talk about that at our next administrative meeting.
Yep.
To maybe improve upon that, but it does say in the rules that we can add any conditions that we want, and it's not necessarily a standard procedure because sometimes somebody can build a deck and make do it later on, depending on.
Or we can just mention that it's a presumption that there will be a condition added to any special permit that permits the addition of a deck with a nonconformity.
We
Right,
might,
that's
yeah, but we may also want to approach the planning board about a zoning bylaw that essentially says that if you have a deck, you need to go in front of the zoning board of appeals under any condition to enclose it. And that way there, and maybe even have a stipulation that says if it's a non-conforming deck, you're not allowed to enclose it ever. And that, we may want to, that may be something for
But I
a
don't
zoning
think we can-
change.
I mean, you guys, if you want to propose something, that's up to you, of course. But
Yeah,
we can't always say always for every situation because there may be
True.
a time where we have a non.
No, but you can just state it. You can just state it as a presumption.
Yeah.
It is very likely that the ZBA will will say X, Y, Z when presented with this sort of situation, which is not hard and fast, but it at least gives notice to people, anybody who may be contemplating, the stepwise expansion of the building, like Peter suggested, that they're not going to get away with it,
Right. Yep.
Well, it certainly has happened in the past, so we'll have to talk about that. All right, so let's get on with the next meeting. We have, the next one is 132 Bass Point Road, and it is now, it's not quite 5:30, so we have to give it another 9 minutes.
Oh,
That members of the public can get on and be able to respond to any questions or what have you. So we'll do that in 9 minutes.
okay.
Okay, so one of the things that we were talking about before was the possible changes of rules, and we've talked about it many times, that we really need to set up a committee, and maybe we should talk about that after this hearing tonight for a few minutes or at our next administrative hearing regarding the bylaws. There are several things that I have in mind that we need to update or change. It might be a good plan.
Yeah, actually, the other thing too, Jocelyn, is I know we've had some training. We had training at the town hall for the committee. I was wondering if, now that we're through COVID, would we have an opportunity to have another training session? And one of the training items I would like somebody to I guess come and talk to us about is the difference between a special permit and a variance, so that we have more clarification, and maybe that person could also give us some insight into what is the definition of substantially detrimental to the neighborhood.
Okay, we actually already had that training, but we'll have it again.
Right.
I'm not sure did you miss one maybe? Is it
Probably,
early on?
yeah, most likely. I mean, I was traveling quite a bit at the time.
You were traveling.
Yeah,
Well,
right now.
Caitlin and I have never had the training, so it's probably time.
Yeah.
We'll do it again then. I'll definitely reach out to them. And the good thing that I want to bring up is now that we have the our account set up so that the fees for the zoning board go into an account and the applicants pay for their own advertising, it's no longer going to be negative on the town, and we're going to actually have our own balance of money we can use for the training. It's great. And we'll do it via Zoom too, which would be great. So I'm excited about that. Does anybody still want the one on the understanding and reading plans? Because that was the next one we were going to do. If you don't feel it's necessary, we can just do this.
I would like it, but it's okay if we don't need it, but I sure would like to learn.
I certainly don't need it. I mean, I read plans all the time, so for me, it's not something I need. But feel free. I know that others, it can be difficult. I've been reading plans for 100 years. I know David probably doesn't need training on reading plans.
But it certainly makes sense to have the training, because if you have not looked at plans, you're looking at the Greek alphabet about
right. Exactly.
So true. All right, I'll call and make arrangements for the training. When do you want to have it? Does anybody have any date in mind?
July 4th.
Hey, we're not having fireworks. We might as well do something, right?
There you go. We'll do training. But last time we were able to get together, and Caitlin and Michael missed it, but we had snacks and everything in the conference room.
Nice.
I mean, I'm sure that's coming pretty soon, isn't it? I mean,
I hope
getting back out of this Zoom stuff.
Yeah, there's some legislation that's going to be filed or has been filed, and it's supposed to tell us by June 15th, right? If we can go.
Well, I wonder, do we have the power to prescribe by rule that the rule that we could make that we can hold these hearings by Zoom whenever it turns out to be convenient?
Well, the problem we have there is the open meeting law.
Yeah, but I mean that's obviously that is something that is important, but it may be considered to be complied with since we've been doing it for a year.
Well, the governor essentially in his order, said that he suspended the requirements of the open meeting law, but I believe that the legislation is going to, I'm hoping it will come down to the fact that they're going to say, okay, this has been really effective for the communities and the towns and cities, and let's continue with it. Hoping.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. You say that there's legislation pending with that effect?
That's what I heard, yes. I spoke to the town clerk today. She told me that.
Oh, good.
So I haven't seen it. There was a class I was supposed to attend about a month ago on this, and I couldn't attend. So,
It would be nice if it was an option. So
Yeah.
that you could do both. If somebody can't make it and you're traveling, you know, that's not an issue. It just
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
falls in place.
yeah, I mean, even if they had it, I know each of the basement rooms now, I was just up there meeting last week, has a large TV that's going to be connected to, I believe, a computer. I think it would be really cool, even if you guys were meeting in a room where if you put it up on Zoom, then, you know, like if somebody can't make it, then you could have that person. I know we did it by phone a couple of times, but it might be better if you're doing it by video because, you know, you can see exhibits and things like that.
Well, that's true, and it's also the case that in many courts these days they permit testimony of people from far away by video conference, and that is taken to be as good as the person being in the room and under oath and testifying. So if that can be made to work, then it ought to be applicable to this sort of thing that we're doing here.
Right.
I agree. Jocelyn, one quick question before we get 2 minutes. Did we ever, I had sent you an email last week or a week and a half ago. Did we ever get an opinion from Dan Script regarding 238 Wilson Road?
yes, we did.
We did.
No, both of them.
I didn't get to see it. Is it,
Okay.
if you could send it to me, that would,
And I can ask him to give it to us in writing, and I don't believe he sent an email. I think I just spoke to him on the phone.
oh, okay.
Let me check though, we've got 2 more minutes here, so let me check to see if he sent anything, and,
I mean, it was more about the question of the 2-year hiatus.
Right.
right, and what he said was, the 2-year hiatus is gone, they've lost all their rights,
Okay,
so we'll talk to,
all right. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
pretty definitive.
Yeah. And it's funny, I even went back and looked at any impacts that COVID might have had, but the house actually burnt down in January of, I believe, 2018, January or February.
Yeah,
So-
January 1st,
Right. So,
2008.
yeah. So, I mean, had it happened in, say, May of 18 and we got into COVID, it was 18. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
even
full year.
still, that second year, you know, maybe 6 months of the second year or whatever. So that was, you know, something I looked at.
All right, just wanted to,
So that opinion is going to be circulated before we have the reconvened hearing on that property?
yes, it is, matter of fact, I just found it, so I'm gonna flag it, and I'll circulate it to everybody as soon as the hearing's over.
great, thank you.
What I've been trying to do is stay focused on one hearing as much as possible, and then let that hearing get through, because I found that when I send out materials to more than one hearing, people get mixed up. So, it is me,
Yes.
that happens. Okay, so we're at 5:30 now, okay, so we can get started. So here we are with, 132 Bass Point Road. Today's June 7th, 2021. We are recording this hearing. I never shut it off, so we kept going with the recording, thankfully. And my name is Jocelyn Campbell. I'm the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. And with us tonight is David Walsh, Peter Barber, Caitlin Kelly, and Michael Raworth. And Michael Raworth and Caitlin Kelly are associate members, and I've appointed them to the full board for the hearing tonight. The hearing process is such that I'm going to read the newspaper advertisement into the record, and then we're going to give you an opportunity to present your case. Then we will ask questions from the board. We'll ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor or against. And then we'll deliberate, and we'll have motions and make our decisions. Okay. So let's get this meeting started. And I'm going to read the advertisement that was placed in the Lynn item. And here's the advertisement. At 5:30 p.m. tonight, we're going to hold a public hearing on petition filed by ATK LLC, owner of the property located at 132 Bass Road, Nahat, Massachusetts, seeking a special permit and a variance to remove old landing and stairs and build a new 6.8 foot by 11 foot deck with stairs. The Inspector of Buildings has denied a building permit on March 22nd, 2021, where the proposed deck is in violation of Section 503 of the zoning bylaws of the town of Nahat, where the proposed lot coverage is 29%, where the maximum allowed is 25%, where the proposed left side is 4.1 feet, where the minimum allowed is 10 feet. And we're doing this meeting tonight via Zoom technology pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 18. So let's get started, and if the petitioner could present their case.
How you doing? I'm Chris LeBlanc. I'm the contractor. I believe Ann is on here also. But I did want to clarify. So the I don't believe the advertisement in the Lynn item was correct. It's a 6 foot. So it's a 17-foot deck. And it kind of tapers, and that would be, it's like 6'7" at the side closest to the driveway and 10'1" at the side closest to the street.
Okay, well, the application that I'm reading, Mr. LeBlanc, says right on it, I don't know if everybody can see it, but it says 6.8 by 11. It says remove old landing and stairs and build a new 6.8 by 11 foot deck with stairs leading towards the backyard and driveway.
Okay.
But okay, let's just go on. We'll see how we're thinking.
So, yep. So, so yeah, it would be a means of egress for the deck. I don't know if you went by 132.
We always go by every property, and we have been by.
Oh, yeah.
My members have as well.
Yeah. So how it's pretty much falling off the house right now, and the stairs currently lead towards the street. So this new deck would be off of a sliding door that's been installed. It would be a means of egress, as well as it would the stairs would go back towards the back driveway. So when people come from the driveway, they could access the stairs and walk up onto the deck. And also just kind of give them a seating area for having dinner out there, enjoying the nice ocean view. It would be built out of all composite decking, cable railings.
And Mr. LeBlanc, did you have anything more to say? Did you file some pictures today?
Excuse me?
Did you send some pictures in today?
I did.
Okay. I have those pictures, and it's, I told the building inspector secretary to let you know that we don't always accept things that are filed late. But he did file some pictures today. Do the rest of the members want to see those pictures?
I got them up on my computer, so
Same.
I did not see the pictures.
All right, I'm gonna share my
I
screen.
didn't buy the house, but I didn't see it.
Hang on just 1 second. All right, so, let's see, let me get to those 1 second. Okay, this is one of the pictures right here.
Yep. And this would be the picture just to show what kind of decking and railing system that we would use.
Okay.
That shows the current stairs now.
Okay.
This is just a view from the street, just to show that, there's a large parcel in between with hedges, and then abutting the neighbors, it's, 2 cars fit in that driveway, so it's approximately 20 plus feet from the property line over to the existing house. Just another view, just to kind of give a idea of where we're going. And that's the slider that was installed, and that's the 2-car driveway right there.
You, can I ask a question, Jocelyn?
Sure.
Or is it too early?
No, well, you know what, where are we at in this hearing anyway? We are in the middle of, he's presenting his case. I want you to hang on 1 second.
All right.
Mr. LeBlanc, do you have anything else more you want to say tonight?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, great. Do any of the members have any questions of the applicant?
Yes. So at one of I think the third picture you mentioned, you said there was 20 feet at the street. That driveway you were showing between the house and the hedges.
Oh, in between the hedges and the current abutter? Correct.
Yeah. Okay, all right, this picture. You say, so it's 20 feet at the front. What is it at the back? Those lines don't look parallel.
No, they're not. So I was referencing from the hedges or the property line, and then there's a 2-car driveway that then separates the abutter's house.
Yeah, it was the
So-
neighbor's house. He was, David, it was the neighbor's house, the 20 feet from the property line to the other neighbor's house, not to this, not from the property line to this house.
Okay, so from
Talking
the,
about 134 is the neighbor that's concerned, correct?
okay, so it's 20 feet from 132 to the property line of 134?
No, sir. So the 20 feet that I was referencing was the property line of 132, and then the abutter's 134 property line starts there. But then there's a 2-car driveway that then separates to the house. So it wouldn't be, so even though we're going to encroach on, the setback, there's still going to be a 2-car driveway that separates to the house, is what I was referencing in the picture.
But the 2-car
Yeah, so-
driveway is owned by the abutter, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah. So Jocelyn, can you scroll to another picture that shows I'm just trying to clarify, because I can see it. This one here. So David, what he's saying is the property line is in the hedges, and he's saying from the hedges to the yellow house is about 20 feet. That's
Okay.
where the 20-foot reference. It has nothing to do with the hedges to the owner of the house that's requesting the deck.
Okay.
That's
What is that dimension?
um
I'm trying to, looking at some of it, I can,
So the dimension for the setback on the deck itself to the property line?
He means
so-
from the side of the house to your property line.
from the side of the house to the hedges at the front of the house. What is that dimension?
Site plan's terrible, whoever did it. Doesn't tell us.
well
Well, it's from the property line to the edge of the deck at the front side. On the street side, it's 11'6".
Okay, and what is it at the back?
6'3" at the stairs,
At the
edge of the stairs to the edge of the property line.
the proposed stairs.
Correct.
Okay, just try to figure this out. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Is anyone else all done with the pictures now, or does anyone see anything else?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna get this, make sure I've stopped sharing. Okay, pictures are gone, right? Okay,
Yep.
all right. So, I have some questions for the applicant. First of all, who's ATK LLC?
That's the owner. That's Ann Kavanaugh.
Okay, well, the owner actually is Ash Ventures LLC, according to the Registry of Deeds?
I believe it changed over to ATK.
Is that
I
a
believe-
new deed? Ms. Kavanaugh, you're muted.
Yeah, muted.
Unmute yourself.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys. No, I'm the owner. My brother was the former owner. He had a stroke during COVID, and I took over the property for him.
Okay, well, the deed at the Registry of Deeds, the master deed, you put this property into a condominium. And, the master deed says it's owned by Ash Ventures LLC.
Okay, I'll get that changed.
Okay, well, the property owner is Ash Ventures LLC. That's the declarant under the master deed for the property. It's gonna make that clear. So the applicant isn't even the correct applicant. So that's an issue, but let's move on and discuss the next step.
I got the tax bill from the town of Nahat, and it says ATK Equities, but
Okay, well, I'm just, and this is a
Aren't
detail.
they, wouldn't they be able to cure that, Jocelyn, by modifying the application to name both entities as applicants?
They could, and just bear in mind that the this property was recently put into a condominium. I want to say it was in the last year or so, yeah, August 2020. And Ash Ventures LLC essentially conveys it in that sense to the master deed and submits it to the master deed. So they are the declarant under the master deed. All right, so let's move on. They could easily remedy that if need be. So a neighbor has opposed this particular, application. We'll hear from them shortly. Is the property in a flood zone?
Is what?
Property in a flood zone? I'm asking Mr. LeBlanc.
I believe so. I believe part of it is, yes.
Okay.
Doesn't that call for a submission from the Concom?
Before you go on to that question, Michael, can I finish asking my question? And so Mr.
Sure.
LeBlanc, you said that you believe it is in a flood zone. And how much of the house is finished? How much of the property's been renovated already?
So 130 is 100% complete.
Has that been
And
sold?
it is on the market currently.
Okay. And 132 is what you're working on now?
Correct. We're just about to get our rough inspections.
And do you have a certificate of occupancy for 130 already?
Yes.
All right. And were you aware, Mr. LeBlanc, that this was a condominium? You
Yes.
knew that, right? Okay.
Yes. I wasn't involved in 130 building. I came in to renovate 132. So, but I did try to clear up whatever was not completed.
Okay. And I saw that there's a deck on the roof for 130, correct?
Correct.
All right.
For both of them, right?
Yeah, for
Correct.
both, right? Okay. How tall is that property, do you know? Height of the property?
I don't know. I don't have that information.
All right. Those are my questions. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple more. So what is the present access into 132?
So there's an entrance in the rear on the driveway side off a Spinney Path.
Okay, off of,
And that, so if you turn down to Spinney Path and then you enter the parking lot on the right-hand side, and then you enter through and per the plans like that were submitted to the town, they call it the basement first, the second, and then it's first floor, basement, second floor, and first floor, second floor, third floor.
so that,
So you enter into what they call the first floor,
that.
according to the
isn't that
plan.
Now, isn't that a access and deck that we approved about 6 months ago for this building?
I'm not aware of that.
All right, okay, I thought you were involved in that application.
And I guess I misunderstood the question. Which deck are we?
Because I mean, this is the third time this building's been in front of us
Okay,
in the last year. And I thought we approved a deck on the back of that building.
nope, there's no decks on the back of the building.
Well, the access, because I remember adjusting the size of the deck that we were used there for access.
David, I think you're thinking about the property next door.
Yeah, there's no deck on the back side.
I know exactly what you mean. I remember going there and when I went to take my walk
Okay.
around, I saw it, and I said, we just did that property next door.
And so I'm actually off by all right, I'll apologize if I'm off by a building.
Or two.
No
Yeah, I
worries.
think that one I think had a wall that ran along that side of the building, and that we were concerned about firefighter access. and stuff.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
156 Bass Point, and I believe that was, yes, that was a year ago, actually.
Okay, so the other question I have is the construction that's going on right now. It looks like there's a couple of windows and a sliding glass door that's already been installed on this building.
Mhm.
Where this is going.
Correct.
Now, is that installed on the premise that we give you the deck and stairs that you need?
Well, it's gonna
I'm just
need,
wondering if the cart's before the horse here.
well, in hope that, yes, it would get approved. We do meet the setback. The only setback that is on the stairs,
But how do you feel you meet the setback, Mr. LeBlanc?
right? Isn't it 10 feet on the side?
Mm-hmm. To the building, and then you have to add the stairs in. The stairs count.
No, the actual deck is 11'6" to the
Okay.
property line on the front, on the corner. It's the stairs that, and I would hug the stairs close to the building. But there's an electrical meter right there. Or I would have just put the stairs, directly on the side of the building. But the
Why can't you
main,
just replace what you currently have? The stairs.
I mean, it would be great if they could have a small deck to go out and maybe eat dinner out on the deck. I mean, the other deck is gonna be on the off of the master bedroom and taking, I guess, like cooking in the kitchen and then bringing all the food up to the third floor. And I mean, I guess it would kind of be hard to do.
It just seems that there's when you turn a building into condos, there needs to be a lot of forethought of how all this is gonna fit. And I think we're throwing in a sliding glass door and windows and then saying, well, we've done that. We really need a deck there and make it all worthwhile. And of coming back
Presumptuous.
and starting originally and say, we want to put a deck here, and we're going to put a slide glass door here. The other stairs are going to go the opposite direction and closer to the property. It's something, it doesn't make sense to process.
Okay, well, let's talk about that when we deliberate. Does anyone have any more questions for the petitioner?
What about if I turned the stairs and brought them towards the front of the house like the old stairs were? And they
Well, we
could be
talked about
close.
that. Mr. LeBlanc, we're in the middle of this. I have to ask if any of the members have any other questions.
Okay.
Caitlin,
Uh,
Peter, David, any questions? Michael?
I'm good.
Nothing further.
All right. So, Mr. LeBlanc, you wanted to add something to that?
I mean,
Which was what?
if that would, meeting the setback and the side and just changing the stairs and bringing them down the front would accommodate, And it would actually be further away from the neighbor's property. If that would be acceptable.
Isn't that the way the stairs currently are? Don't they lead out to the street?
Yes.
They do. I mean, I guess, from a standpoint of, nowadays, I guess, anybody could, I guess they were trying to run them off of the back. It would be one, closer to the parking lot. And two, somebody couldn't just walk down the sidewalk and, walk up the side of the stairs, that lead to the street and, be right at the door. I guess it would just give, the homeowners a little more privacy.
Now,
And a little more safety, right, where they would have to walk through the backyard to walk up on the door.
are you suggesting that if you put the stairs in the same spot, there would not be a deck?
No, I'm asking if I leave the deck where it is and then just turn the stairs and bring them down towards the front of the street. If that
Well, then
would, that would
I
be,
think I think you're even worse off.
Right. That would be great.
Well, let me make sure we understand ourselves. Today, there's a small landing that leads to the steps that face the street. And the deck that you're talking about is the proposed deck. There's no existing deck, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a look at that one more time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the picture. I mean, if you literally slid the landing, and I know you probably wouldn't use the same, landing and railings and stuff, but if you slid it back to the sliding glass door, you would have the stairs that would run down in a pretty close to the same spot. I think that would be better than, a full-size deck and the stairs.
And what is the dimensions of the stairs if you were to bring them back the same way they are now?
Excuse me?
What is the dimension, the width of the stairwell that's
3 feet, it's a 3x3 landing right now. It's
3 by 3
basic,
landing with
it's just a landing with a set of stairs. More like in case of emergency to get out of the house.
Right.
okay. All right, I'm good for the time being.
All right, so is there anyone present tonight who would like to speak in favor of the application?
No, this is Ann Kavanaugh. So I just wanted to say that the whole point of the deck and
Yeah,
the,
excuse me a second. I'll put you down as the owner,
yes,
and what's your address?
565 Broadway, number 9, New York, 10012.
Okay,
Yeah, so the point was to try to make the property more beautiful. And when I first saw the staircase and actually went up the staircase, it wasn't that stable. So, we wanted to put in something that looked good to make the property and the neighborhood look better.
okay, thank you. Is anyone else like to speak in favor of the application? Okay, is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition of the application?
Yes,
Okay, and your name?
Debbie O'Connor. Or Debbie Duffy O'Connor,
Debbie O'Connor, and what's your address?
62 Spinney Path.
Okay. Did you want to say anything in particular, Debbie, or just that you're opposing?
What did she say?
Nothing to do with you. Don't worry, just go.
Should I speak now?
If you'd like to speak, sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry, it's hard to hear. Okay, so we're the property that is behind the house on Spinney Path. And the way our house is situated, and the way their house is situated, the deck with the stairs to the back of the house would directly obstruct our ocean views from our main living room on the first floor. That's the first point. And then the second point of note is we do not currently see the existing staircase to the front of the house.
Okay,
And those are our 2 points.
And I
Thank you very
believe Paula and Bart Bennett have sent a new letter.
They have. I'm going to review that letter in a minute with everyone. I just want to find out if there's anyone present first who would like to speak. Okay, is there anyone else in opposition that would like to speak this evening?
Yeah,
Okay, Miss Paula Bennett or Mr. Bennett?
yeah, this is Mr. Bennett.
Hi,
How you doing?
we did receive a letter from you, and was going to read that next, but, since you're on the phone, why don't you tell everybody what your letter said, your opposition letter?
Well, first of all, the
Oh, Mr.
setback,
Bennett, could you, for the record, could you state your address, please?
134 Bass Point Road.
Okay,
I'm the direct abutter. And first of all, the setback where he is presuming to put his deck will not be 10 feet off my property line. It'd be more like 6 to 4 feet. Out front on the street side, it's just about 10 feet, but it runs on an angle. When you look at the pictures of the bushes, when you get to the end of where the bushes are, those bushes are on my land. That runs
Okay.
on an angle. It goes right halfway through the bushes in the middle and then to the end of it on the other side. Plus, I'm opposed to having a deck hanging over my driveway like that. There's a fire safety issue. You got the deck there, you got the bushes there. If there was ever a fire, the fire department would be able to get in there to work. The noise issue, drilling. They have two beautiful decks upstairs, one on the ocean side, one on the side of the house. There's no reason why they need a big deck down there like that. What my feeling is, they're trying to enhance the property to bring up the dollar value, to make more money on it at the neighbor's expense. And I've been putting up with this construction over here for over 3 years, and it's just I'm getting fed up with it. If I go to sell my home and there's a big deck out there, it could be a potential decrease in property value for me. So I'm dead against it.
okay. And I want to point out that, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, Paula Bennett as well, sent in an opposition letter. And the letter essentially says what Mr. Bennett just said, except that it also said that, I'm just gonna summarize it a little bit because I'll read it real quickly because you missed some issues. One of them that you mentioned was that you felt that you were opposing because it was going to affect your quiet enjoyment of your property, privacy issues, fire safety issues, noise issues, potential decrease in property value, offensive odor from grilling or smoke, and financial and emotional harm. So that's the letter we got, and attached to it are some pictures of the deck, and that'll be on record. So I'm assuming Mr. Bennett, would you have any more to say, or are you all set?
Well, I'm all set for right now.
Okay. So, anyone else like to speak in opposition of this matter? All right. Now that everybody has spoken in favor or in opposition, we're going to deliberate amongst ourselves, and that's when we talk to each other, and if we have any questions, we'll let you know. Okay, so what does everybody think?
I think the objections that have been raised are pretty significant.
I agree. I believe that, when we start talking about blocking ocean views and I didn't say anything about airways or sun, but blocking ocean views is a pretty substantial, effect on the neighborhood.
And also the addition of the deck implies that there's going to be, barbecuing or something going on there, which is something that is going to have an effect on the abutting neighbor, which was not, if you will, not part of the original construction. And essentially the owner has bought the place as it is and obviously want to enhance its value, but the zoning bylaw is meant to be a limit on how much you can do when the sharp elbows impinged on the neighborhood. So they had no reason to expect that they were going to be able to enlarge as they proposed here.
Correct. Well, I think I have to agree with everyone else that, I feel the same way. You know, I'm always making an argument for light and air. There are times when a view is blocked and it's minimal. We had a hearing recently where it seemed like the view was blocked a little bit on the sides, but it was down, and so we went with it. But in this case, I can kind of see that. When I was behind the property, I could kind of see what they were talking about with the view. And also the fact that they can't see the stairs where they are now because of the angle. So that's one issue. Another is the fact that it's going into the setback. Fire safety issues, noise. Anyone else want to add to that, Caitlin?
Yeah, I think the proposed setback of 4 feet when the minimum allowed is 10. It's one thing if you're talking about a fence, but when you're talking about a deck that people are actually going to be sitting on, eating, whatever, and they're 4 feet away from the next person's property, I don't see how we could allow that.
I think that there's a valid argument to be made that it could potentially impact the property values of the neighbors as well.
Mhm.
So what do we do?
So I would move for a finding that that the proposed modification does have a substantially detrimental effect on the neighborhood.
I second that motion.
Any
So,
discussion on the motion? You want to discuss
just, yeah, kind of a procedural thing. If we make a finding, oh, no, never mind. I'll bring it up after.
And no further discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Peter Barber, aye.
David Walsh, aye.
I mean, back
Mike
up.
Raworth, aye.
Who seconded that motion?
I did.
David Walsh did.
David Walsh.
So Michael Raworth and David Walsh, okay. And so David,
Yep.
you just said aye. Who else has second? Who is,
Peter said aye.
Peter said aye.
and
Mike
you said
Raworth said aye.
And Jocelyn Campbell, aye.
Caitlin
Okay,
Kelly,
so we
aye.
made a finding that we feel that this deck, Mr. LeBlanc, is going to be more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood. And so therefore, you know, what we would suggest to you at this point, a couple of things. One of them is, and I don't know if the other members feel the same, what if Mr. LeBlanc were interested in doing what you suggested, David, I think it was you or Peter, I'm not sure who suggested, just sliding the current stairway back a little bit so it was lined up with that door opening and leave it like that. That would be minimal, or you want them to stay exactly where it is? What's everybody's point on, if you want that?
Well, I mean, I think what my recommendation from the board is, one, is to have them withdraw without prejudice and reproduce plans that show essentially, you know, a landing out of the sliding glass door and a set of stairs, which is the minimal that you need. It isn't going to substantially change from what's there now. And I still believe they're going to need a special permit or a variance because they're not going to have the 25-foot setback on the front. And they may not even make the side setback, but at least allowing them to have something similar to what they have, which is a second means of egress.
The only problem with that, David, Peter, is that then I want to make sure that everybody's clear. If you make a recommendation like that, that does not necessarily from the board, and does not necessarily mean that we would allow it. So we need to make that really clear that that's just an idea that you have. I don't know if it's a recommendation or an idea, but essentially, if we go forward with the rest of our motion and the applicant does not withdraw, then we will be denying their application tonight, and they will not be able to reapply for 2 years. So it might behoove them to withdraw their application. We'll give them that opportunity to do that. But if you make a recommendation or a suggestion and then they decide to go ahead and do that and spend money on new plans and this and that and come back, we may still not allow it depending on what the circumstances are and if the new plan actually obstructs the view and continues.
Correct.
You know,
You're right. You're right.
I just want to make
I
that
would-
clear, because I kind of felt stuck one time.
I would recommend we don't make any suggestion and merely ask them if they want to withdraw without prejudice.
Right, I think that's a better choice.
Yep.
So, Mr. LeBlanc and Ms. Kavanaugh, here you have it. Would you like to withdraw without prejudice so you can come back? Or would you like us to make a decision for you tonight?
Okay, so if we withdraw without prejudice, then we can come back and present, because the staircase is not safe, so it has to be replaced. So we'll come back to the board with that proposal.
Well, I don't know that you need a building permit to replace an existing staircase.
Right, but that staircase doesn't line up with their door, their new sliding glass door.
But the whole fucking
Earl-
door back in.
Exactly.
Sorry?
So
I
you
missed
need
the
to
last
take out the
comment
door,
there.
replace the current, talk with Wayne, the building inspector, about that, what you need to do. But your choices right now really are to withdraw, your application or to let us make a decision on this matter.
So we'll withdraw and we'll come back.
Okay.
Let me just flag one thing so that there's no confusion about it. The sliding glass door was apparently constructed without consultation with anybody on the assumption that this special permit was going to be approved. And just the fact that having constructed the sliding glass door wherever it is does not entitle the applicant to any particular rights to a relief from this board. I mean, what you've got is a means of egress through a staircase that's pre-existing, and presumably, although I'm not sure, I think you could probably repair that without a building permit. But changing the location of it is a change which presumably is going to require action by the building inspector and possibly a second return to this body. But just so you're aware that having built that sliding glass door, you all were at risk about that, and you don't gain any leverage by virtue of having done that on your own.
I think they realize that.
Okay.
Understood.
All right, good point,
I-
Michael, though. All right, anybody else they're gonna withdraw their application, so let's not be a dead horse.
Also,
here.
do we have to make a motion to accept the withdrawal, or is it? We do.
That was my next thing.
All right, I'm
I need
sorry.
a motion for that purpose.
I'll make a motion that we accept the withdrawal of the petition without prejudice.
Pete Barber, seconds it.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
I
Pete
did.
Barber, aye.
Caitlin Kelly,
Andrew Walsh, Peter Farmer, Caitlin Kelly,
Mike Raworth, aye.
and Jocelyn Campbell, aye. Yeah, good luck, that, Ann, and Mr. LeBlanc, and Ms. Kavanaugh, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
And,
I'll second
who's
that.
seconding that motion?
Pete
Peter
Barber
Barber,
seconds
second?
it. Yeah.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Andrew Walsh, aye.
Peter Barber, aye.
Caitlin Kelly, aye.
Mike Raworth, aye.
Jocelyn Campbell, aye. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.